So I'll just ask again, has Iran violated the letter of the JCPOA?
The IAEA has not found significant violation of
I'm not asking the IAEA, I'm asking you.
That is what we rely upon. The IAEA has not found
So
significant violation.
is it the State Department's position that Iran has not violated the letter of the JCPOA?
That is the judgment of the IAEA upon
I'm not
the
asking the IAEA,
administration.
I'm asking you, sir.
I've responded, sir.
Okay, does Annex 1, Paragraph 61 of the JCPOA state, quote, Iran will only engage in production of centrifuges to meet the enrichment R&D requirements? You're familiar with that?
I would have to respond in formal fashion to that.
Okay, well, formally, that is what that Annex 1, Paragraph 61 states. Is it true that Iran has acquired more than the necessary amount of IR-8 centrifuge rotor assemblies for R&D purposes with 16 times more capacity than the IR-1 to enrich uranium?
Again, I would have to respond in a formal written
You could
fashion.
respond right now, sir.
I would have to consult. I am not a technical expert.
I thought you were the acting secretary.
I am, sir, but those questions are highly technical and they demand a very technical and specific response, which we will provide.
Okay, as part of the JCPOA, an enrichment research and development plan was submitted to the IAEA that permitted roughly 10 IR-6 centrifuges. Are you aware that Iran has assembled 13 to 15 IR-6 centrifuges which should have been limited or destroyed under this plan?
Representative, all questions of this character can be responded to at an appropriate level of classification in writing.
Well, but you're stating that Iran has not violated the letter of the deal. So what I'm going to do right now is go through all the different ways Iran's violating the letter of the deal. Is it your position that you're not going to respond with regards to any of the ways that Iran has violated the letter of the deal?
These technical questions will require a sufficiently classified written response.
Under Annex 1, Paragraph 76 of the JCPOA, the IAEA can request access to military locations such as Parchin to verify compliance. Is that right?
Representative, my response is the same to all questions of this character.
It's a technical question. Is your position you can't tell me whether or not the JCPOA grants access to Iran's military sites for inspection for verification?
It does, sir.
It does state that.
That is part of the JCPOA.
Correct. Okay. So that you're able to answer that. Now, has it not been crystal clear that it's Iran's position both before, during, and after the JCPOA was finalized that they will not grant any access to their military sites?
I will respond to that question in writing.
You can't respond to that now.
No, I cannot.
Rouhani hasn't had a problem saying this over video. I don't know why that requires a classification. I mean, it is well-known, open-sourced information. Iran has made it crystal clear that we do not have access to their military sites.
There is much well-known, open-sourced material that is also not correct or is nuanced. I will provide a detailed response from appropriate U.S. government agencies to all of these questions.
Has Iran acquired more heavy water than they are allowed to under the JCPOA?
Same response, sir.
What's the response?
We will provide a detailed response in an appropriate fashion.
See, here's the problem. You have no problem coming before Congress, and others will come before Congress saying, in no uncertain terms, Iran has not violated the letter of the JCPOA. But then when you're asked questions about all the different ways that Iran has violated the letter of the JCPOA, you have to respond in writing, or it's a technical question that's someone else's expertise. You don't have the expertise to engage in any answers with regards to ways that Iran's violating the letter of the JCPOA. Yet you do have the expertise to come to Congress and say they're not violating the letter of the JCPOA, and you do have the expertise to come before Congress and explain the justification for your position. Yet when asked about all the different ways, Iran collecting more IR-6 rotor assemblies than they're allowed to, assembling more IR-8 rotor assemblies than they are allowed to, the centrifuges, to deny access to their military sites, to collect more heavy water than they are permitted to. And that list goes on. When we went to Parchin and we found nuclear particles that we want to follow up on, Iran's new position was, you can't visit Parchin, so we were not able to inspect with regards to those particles that were discovered. So if you do not have the technical capabilities to answer any questions with regards to all the known specifics of how Iran is violating the letter of the deal, then we should not have one witness after another coming before this committee and others making the flat-out statement that Iran is not violating the letter of the JCPOA because that has consequences.
For the sake of the record, Congressman, my comment was the IAEA has in its most recent reporting not found significant violation of the provision.
And until the IAEA comes before this committee, if they do come before the committee, I'd be happy to ask them the same exact questions. But you're here representing the United States State Department, and I'm asking you about different specific questions.
And I have answered, we will provide you detailed answers to all of those questions.
I go back.